China has once again demonstrated its ability to command global attention, this time with a massive military parade marking the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Imperial Japan and the end of World War II. What unfolded in Beijing wasn't just a commemoration of history. It was a carefully choreographed display of power, politics, and global messaging. The day began with an 80-gun salute, each shot symbolizing 1 year since the end of the war. The parade itself, held in Tiananmen Square, brought together not only China's top leadership, but also two of the world's most controversial figures, Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. It was the first time the three leaders had met in person, and their presence together was no accident. For Beijing, the symbolism was clear. This was about strength, solidarity, and the projection of influence far beyond China's borders. President Xi Jinping seized the moment to deliver a powerful message. He described China as a nation that has never bowed to bullies, one that values independence and unity in the face of adversity. He reminded the world that 80 years ago, China was invaded and humiliated, but it emerged victorious, and today it stands as a global superpower. The atmosphere on the ground was electric. As tanks rumbled past and fighter jets roared overhead, crowds erupted with excitement. Reporters described how every boot hitting the pavement seemed perfectly synchronized, every turn of the head precisely timed. The performance was more than a parade. It was a theatrical showcase of loyalty, precision, and discipline. But this event wasn't just about remembering the past. It carried two distinct audiences. Domestically, the message was clear. Loyalty to the Communist Party and to Xi Jinping himself remains paramount. In fact, officials had openly stated in briefings that reinforcing loyalty to the party was as important, if not more, than commemorating the end of World War II. For the international audience, the message was equally unmistakable. China showcased its vast arsenal of modern, domestically produced weapons, some of them revealed to the public for the very first time. The underlying theme of battle readiness was hard to miss, and the message was likely aimed at rivals and neighbors, including Taiwan, which watches China's military posture with growing concern. Yet this was not purely about military might. It was also about political power and global alliances. What stood out was not just the rows of soldiers and the gleaming military hardware, but the seating arrangement on the podium. Xi Jinping at the center, flanked by Putin on one side and Kim Jong-un on the other. At a time when Western nations isolate Moscow and Pyongyang, Beijing placed them at the heart of a spectacle watched by the world. Some analysts had speculated that China might be uncomfortable with the growing closeness between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, particularly after reports of North Korea sending troops and support to Russia's war in Ukraine. But there was no sign of tension here. Instead, the message was one of unity. Together, these three leaders appeared to be signaling the possibility of a new world order, one where their voices grow louder and their alignment more visible. Still, questions remain. Can China portray itself as a bridge builder and master of diplomacy while parading alongside leaders many in the world view as pariahs? Does this strengthen Beijing's global standing, or does it risk undermining its message of peaceful leadership? Whatever the answers, one thing is clear. China used this moment to project strength, military, political, and symbolic. The parade wasn't just about remembering the past, it was about shaping the future. And whether celebrated or criticized, the sight of Xi, Putin, and Kim standing together sent a message the world cannot ignore.